Oh my god, ladies and gentlemen, Soldier 76 is an absolute monster. The man is a killing machine. You are probably seeing a load of Soldier 76 in whatever game style or mode you play, whether that's competitive, quick play or no limit. Soldier is a goddamn beast, and I'm going to explain why in this video. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Stylosa and this is Unit Loss, so let's get into this. So what we've got is this update to Soldier, which is actually a pretty minor update on the face of it, but it's turned Soldier into a goddamn beast. So, his pulse rifle bullet damage has been increased from 17 to 20. Now that might not sound like a lot, but that actually is a hell of a lot considering how many bullets Soldier fires and how fast he fires them. His maximum bullet spread is increased from 2.2 to 2.4, so he's actually got more spread now when he fires. And the developer comments for this are basically Soldier 76's damage felt a little bit low when compared to similar heroes. This increase affects both his normal rate, his normal fire and his ultimate. So let's talk about this, and let me explain why this has turned Soldier into a goddamn killing machine. Because Soldier's problem for a very long time, and this is why you would very rarely see Soldier, is because he did not do enough damage. What Soldier would do is poke away or tickle away at tanks or even other DPS characters or maybe even other supports. Like he never really had that power to just kill people. Like McCree was always a better Soldier because McCree could turn up. He had effective elimination power. He could just kill the enemy, right? Soldier would just damage the enemy and they'd run off and get healed and all the ultimates would get charged on the enemy team. They'd come running back in and do more damage. But that's another thing that I want to talk about as well, the ultimate charge. You see, it's 25% longer now for all ultimates to charge. So before that happened, Soldier, when he's doing damage to people and poking away at them, he's actually charging up everybody's ultimate who gets ultimate charge from healing. So like Roadhog's ulti, Mercy's ulti, Lucio's ulti, Zen's ulti, you know, anybody who's got some sort of healing component to them, he charges their ultimate up faster for them because he's not actually eliminating people. But because it takes longer for an ultimate now anyway, it kind of doesn't matter as much. But obviously he's had a damage increase. So what happened was, before this patch dropped, McCree was the Soldier. Soldier had no place in the game because Soldier was still engaging at maybe McCree's range. Let's be honest, it was fairly similar. But McCree had the effective double tap kill. Bang, bang, dead. Bang, bang, dead. Bang, bang, dead. Okay, not at Soldier's range, but it was close enough to make it worthwhile, right? Also, he had the flashbang, so that meant he could shut down Genji. He could shut down Tracer. And he was very powerful for that. Soldier didn't have any crowd control, and he still doesn't have crowd control. What Soldier had instead was his biotic field, which gives him sustain, so he can stay in the fight. Now, what's happening is with Soldier, it's very interesting, this is because it's like a culmination of a couple of changes, like the 25% increase in ultimate charge, and the fact that Soldier now does more damage, and I've got to be honest, the inclusion of Sombra as well, because Soldier is a very strong counter to Sombra. Soldier is now... He's like the man, because if you look at the meta of Overwatch, and talking about the meta might be quite boring, but it was a lot of Reinhardt, it was a lot of barrier play and stuff like that. So you'd see like maybe, well, let's just use Reinhardt as an example. A lot of Reinhardt versus Reinhardt teams just sort of jockeying position, then they sort of go in and whatever. Now though, because Soldier's back, Soldier can annihilate, and I mean absolutely annihilate a Reinhardt barrier. So I play a lot of Reinhardt and I'll be standing there with my barrier and Soldier just destroys it. I'm like, guys, my barrier's gone, what the? And then it's really crazy to sort of deal with. And not to mention Soldier's ultimate is, I've got to say, one of the better ultimates. It might be quite bland in the way it works. You know, it's just aimbot and he just fires. He doesn't fire for headshot damage, but he fires for body shot damage. But it's auto lock-on, which is obviously very powerful. It means Soldier can clean people up. And Soldier's always been very good at this. So if a push starts to fail and the enemy try to disengage, Soldier can clean them up. Even without his ulti, he can just keep firing at them and clean them up. He's got like extreme poke damage, and that's what Soldier was all about. But now he's got more poke damage. So when people like your Lucios, like your Zenyatas, or anybody like that tries to run away, you can kill them. I mean, Soldier is extremely potent at killing tanks as well. If he's landing headshots, which he can at pretty much medium range by going full auto and firing the Helix rocket in, that is crazy burst damage off Soldier. I mean, like I said earlier, Soldier doesn't have the burst, or didn't have the burst of McCree. He still had the Helix rocket, whereas, you know, maybe he could make up for that. But the Helix rocket is a projectile. And Soldier always had this interesting dynamic of a projectile weapon and a hit scan weapon. So, in case you guys don't know what that means, is a hit scan weapon is like Soldier's weapon when he's firing it, like McCree's pistol, like Reaper's weapon. Anything that instantly hits the target the moment you fire it. A projectile takes time to travel. So, sort of having to have the projectile in your play as you're hit scanning, it takes a bit of practice with Soldier. And I think I'm getting a little bit better at it. But I've played quite a bit of Soldier anyway, so I don't think it's that much of an issue. But what we've got into now is this phase of Soldier is just there with consistent damage that is really effective damage. Before, he did not have this effective damage. And what I want you guys to do is not think, oh god, we've got a soldier on our team, because I used to think this before. I'd be like, oh, just play McCree, because if you can play soldier, you can probably play McCree, because they're both hit scan heroes. Okay, soldier relies a bit more on tracking, so you sort of follow your target as you keep firing, whereas McCree is more like pinpoint accuracy. McCree's probably harder to play when it comes down to it in that kind of way, just for raw accuracy, whereas soldier's a little bit forgiving. But McCree is offset by the fact you land those 2 headshots, that person is dead faster than soldier could ever kill anybody by firing at them. Just a fact, you know. So, yeah, what we've got now is a soldier situation where he is this effective poke damage that can rip barriers down. And I think we're going to see Reinhardt not falling out of the meta, because he's Reinhardt, right? Reinhardt is always going to be Reinhardt, and he's always a really powerful hero, and he protects the team, and you're always really probably going to want him in some kind of form. But Soldier can counter him in a pretty good way now. But he also counters a lot of stuff. Like I said, McCree's very good for flanking heroes. This is true. McCree probably still is the best at point-blank duels, right? Because he can flashbang you and then take you out. Soldier, though, has a ton of sustain. So if he does get jumped by a Tracer, he can just drop his biotic field and just sit there and fire at the Tracer. He might not kill the Tracer, but the Tracer's got to disengage because they won't have the sustain to keep taking on the Soldier. Whereas with McCree, McCree would just kill the Soldier. That's kind of the difference. I think going a bit forward, what we're going to see are McCree and Soldier combinations, because that is a crazy powerful combination. There's a lot of damage there, and there's a lot of control, and there's a lot of sustain, and it's just insane. But I want to just roll back and just talk about the ultimate for a second, because I kind of jumped off that. So Soldier's ultimate is... I've been caught out by this. I've been playing a lot of competitive today, and I've been caught out by things I just did not expect to happen. Like Soldier going on a flank, popping his ultimate, and wiping out the backline. It's so effective. Like, I'm playing Reinhardt, so I'm standing at the front, I'm absorbing damage. Soldier suddenly is behind, pops his ulti, kills 3 of the support, well, 2 of the supports, maybe a DPS, and the push is dead. It's gone. That's the end of it. And I've also been seeing quite a lot of Ana boost on Soldier, which seems massively powerful. But the fact is, I love this change. It means Soldier is relevant again, but he doesn't replace McCree. But he is viable, because he was not viable before. He did not do enough damage. Soldier was a guy who was there and he just poked people away, and it just wasn't enough. But also, when you sort of join it with the ultimate charge nerf, which is a nerf, to 25% increase for everybody, it means that Soldier, even when he does poke people and they get away, he's not necessarily charging their ultimate super fast. Yeah, sure, he's charging them faster, but he's not charging it to the point where they can just sort of pop more ultimates in the game and, like, you know, affect it in that kind of way. So I think it's very, very interesting. Soldier is definitely back, and I hope that I've explained, guys, why he is. And if any DPS players out there have not been playing Soldier, go and play him. Even if you're not a DPS player playing, because he is quite easy to start getting into. Like, maybe go and play in the no limits mode just to sort of get used to Soldier, and then maybe go into quick play just to nail it down, and then maybe start trying some competitive play, because he's really damn good. And I think we're going to see Soldier in the meta quite a lot. Because, oh my god. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Stylosa, this is Unit Lost. If you've been playing Soldier, let me know what you think about him. Let me know what you think the future's going to hold for Soldier. Let me know if you think they're probably going to nerf him, or maybe they even buff him again. I don't know. Do you play Soldier? Are you trying to convince your friends to play Soldier? I don't know. Anyway, guys, I've been Stylosa, this is Unit Lost. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you on the next one. Toodaloo.